Well, welcome to Coffee and Revelation on Tuesday, and we're in this marvelous chapter of Revelation, chapter 21, and just this one verse again, because, as I say, this is such a beautiful chapter, and it's just worth us taking our time to pause and reflect and meditate upon it. So, Revelation 21, then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea. Now, we looked at that yesterday. But today's is, I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband. So, let's reflect on this just a little bit. The holy city, the new Jerusalem. Now, you notice something? I hadn't noticed this before. The holy city comes down out of heaven. Well, where does it come to? It comes to earth. We think of things at the end about us going up to heaven, but what's this coming down to earth? Is this not saying the union of heaven and earth? You know, just as marriage is a union between a husband and wife, isn't this talking about that separation being completely done away with? And then notice this bride, she's beautiful. She's beautifully dressed for her husband. She's adorned for her husband, beautifully dressed for her husband. And we've all seen that, haven't we? You go to a wedding, you remember your own wedding, you remember what happened there. And you just see this beautiful bride. And it's almost like every bride is beautiful. It takes time, doesn't it, to prepare and get ready. And that's one of the images about the church. Some people look at the church and, I've just written an article defending the church again. And sometimes we see a great deal of ugliness, but we are being made beautiful. I love the fact that in Ephesians chapter 5, which so many people take it as being about marriage, which it kind of is, but it's actually about so much more. Because it talks about how the husband is the head of the wife, as Christ is the head of the church, his body of which is the Saviour. Husband, love your wives just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. And then it talks later about how husbands should, no one ever hated their own body, but they feed and care for their body, just as Christ does the church, for we are members of his body. So this is about Christ making the church beautiful. This is about the end. This is when all the ugliness has gone out of the church, all the hypocrisy, all the sin, all the wickedness, all the things that so depress us. And I think it's just such a beautiful, beautiful picture. There's a t-shirt I used to have that had the slogan on it, "Please be patient with me because God is not finished with me yet." Well, please be patient with the church because God is not finished with the church yet. God is working, God is beautifying, God is purifying. Christ died for the church of God, which he bought with his own body. Christ died for the church. But he's also cleansing the church. He's making the church holy. He's sanctifying the church. That's ongoing. It's not like he created the church and then it's been downhill ever since. This is all heading towards this one marvelous day, the wedding feast, the marriage supper of the Lamb. So, the beautiful bride, the bride and the bridegroom together. I wonder if you think of the church in that way as the beautiful bride. Because that's what we are. And I think maybe we need to think about ourselves like that a bit more. And I think we need to be more positive about the church. I'm not talking about all the games we play. I'm not talking about the organizations. I'm just talking about the church as the bride of Christ. And again, this is such a biblical theme. Isaiah is, talks about that. He says this, I delight greatly in the Lord. I think it's 51:10. My soul rejoices in my God, for he has clothed me with garments of salvation and arrayed me in a robe of righteousness. And as a bridegroom adorns his head like a priest, and as a bride adorns herself with her jewels. We delight in God because this is what God is doing. And so, I mean, yesterday we had that wonderful positive picture of there's no longer any sea or separation or evil or anything. And now we have this great picture of the church being beautified, purified, made ready for Christ, and heaven and earth coming together and this ultimate union being brought about. So, wonderful thought, isn't it? See you tomorrow. Bye.